but there's so much danger involved in that because they could be stepping in front of another vehicle, of another car and get hit. And get hit by the suspect.
Are there rules concerning when do you go for the spike strips, Mike? I mean, because we've got other cars on the road here, and to your point, it could be pretty dicey, and you could get hit by another vehicle.
You could, but it's just, Mike, it's part of the job. It's part of the danger that law enforcement are confronted with every single day. But it's interesting to see, and Mike, you pointed this out earlier. We don't see that many times, but there are apparently down there, many of the vehicles are equipped with a kit for throwing out for deploying the spike strips. Now, slowing down a little bit here.
How is there any way, Mike, that they may be trying to communicate with this guy?
There's always a possibility. If you have a tag number, and if you can run that tag and you send someone out to the vehicle, if it's not stolen, and you get someone who's there who might know this person, can give you the cell phone, there's always a possibility the negotiator could try to call the person and talk to them. I mean, that has happened before. Or someone will recognize the person, and to try to contact them. Or her. But we're hearing right now that there are 2 people inside of this minivan.
Okay.
So we know that at least one of those people are armed and extremely dangerous.
You have to, I guess, would they assume that one person behind the wheel was the getaway guy, and then the guy who allegedly pointed the gun at somebody, the teller? Because again, if you're just joining us, these are 2 suspected bank robbers, armed, we should say, and police do say they are armed and dangerous here in the Houston area.
And we see, Christy, that they're starting to get into a little bit more traffic here as they're heading downtown with our aerial photo, courtesy of our affiliate KTRK. But the silver minivan wanted for armed robbery of a bank, suspected armed robbery of a bank. At least one of the people inside is believed to be armed. They believe that that person pointed a weapon at one of the tellers. We see 2 vehicles here. Again,
those are the vehicles close by.
Yeah, we've seen up to 7 at one point, but
and one of them's passing again, so we're going to anticipate another.
And you know what? It looks like that vehicle might be dragging a spike strip to maybe deploy. It looked like that.
Can you do that? You can deploy it through the vehicle.
I've never seen that, but it looks like the one vehicle was kind of dragging something. Not sure exactly.
I was going to ask that, especially after 4 throws and misses, right? Is there another way to do this?
Is there another way to do it?
Yeah, well, maybe get an officer in the back seat to hold on to it, try to get in front of them, and then let it go. Because I do not know of any automatic deployment system of spike strips. I've never seen that technology. I wouldn't be surprised if they had it, but I've never seen that before.
Okay, we have to take a quick break, but I'm just getting this update on it, too. They have reached speeds of 120 miles per hour. During this chase at some points. This is just south of downtown Houston right now. Stay close. We're going to take you right back there in a moment. First of all, I have to update you on this Houston car chase right now, or a minivan chase. These are 2 suspected bank robbers. Police believe them to be armed and dangerous. This has been going on for 45 minutes, an hour, I think, at this point. They have just gotten off the highway, now in a residential neighborhood, as you can see, which really changes things up here. It changes the way that police will do things, because now they're in a much more populated area. But as they're going through this, I want to show you what happened and how they got to this area.
Rear tire looks
low, that's scary. Yeah. How fast they're going in this residential neighborhood. We just saw a dog almost dart out into the street as well. Man, that's scary stuff. Oh, by the way, here's some of the stuff you missed, Mike. Isn't this incredible? They were stopped, and then somehow this minivan, pretty elusive to get away there.
Yeah, it was almost boxed in, Mike, and there was a car that looked like it was coming up alongside to try to box it in. It was next to a tractor trailer with a load full of wood, and it went around it, and then it came down. There was a cruiser with the door open, looked like maybe to deploy another set of spike strips, and it knocked the door, crashed into the car, into the door.
Okay.
That looks like the rear wheel. This is live now from KTRK. Again, on side roads, it looks like he has lost at least one wheel, Mike and Christy. At least one wheel on the left rear and on the right rear. It looks like he might be riding on the rims.
Hey, guys,
rear right tire.
And that was one of those throws we thought might have caught one of those rear wheels. So maybe it wasn't a full miss. As
exactly.
We're seeing here.
I mean, all it takes is to pick up one of those spikes and stick in your tire.
And Mike Squared here, both of our mics I'm talking to, you know, they might have noticed, and you might have noticed too when we replayed it, when he was starting to get boxed in and he suddenly took off, the door on the driver's side opened up. And I thought, oh, I wonder if he was getting ready to make a run for it.
Yeah.
Now that they're in a residential neighborhood, Mike, how do you prepare for that?
I mean, now I would dare to say that one of the cars you're going to see close up in the stack of that Chase is a canine unit. So if you do have a bailout, you can't outrun a German Shepherd or a Malinois, that's for sure.
All righty, I'm sorry, we've got to take a quick break here. We'll be right back in a moment. Well, this is as live TV gets, folks. Christy Paul here with Mike Alanos and Mike Brooks as we're watching a car chase, or a minivan chase, I should say, in the Houston area, southeast Houston right now. The two people believed to be in that silver minivan are suspected bank robbers, one who allegedly held a gun to a teller at a bank before they got in this car and took off. They've been using spike strips at least 3 or 4 times. To our count, 5? Has 4. It been 5? 4.
Looks like
okay.
4 times, yeah.
4 times, and we're wondering if maybe one of them actually worked, because it looks like the rear right tire is gone on this minivan. They were on the highway for a big chunk of this chase, and now obviously have moved to some residential areas. We have somebody on Twitter who is asking, watching this live police chase, don't understand why the cops can't just drive a little faster. Mike, what do you say to that?
Well, you don't want to drive. You don't want to get right up on the person. You want to leave a little bit of room, because you've got to react to what the driver's going to do. And, you know, you've also got other people who are on the road, unwitting's, that are just driving in their car that may not know there's a chase coming. And you always want to have some space so you can react to what the driver does. Now, it looks like this vehicle is now driving basically on the rims. The right rear tire looks like it is gone through, blowing a stop sign. We're in southeast Houston. These photos courtesy of our affiliate KTRK. And driving through a neighborhood. And Chrissy, you pointed out, and Mike, we've talked about this before also, that many times during one of these, you'll go to an area that you know. You know, if I was a bad guy and I was going to be driving somewhere, I'd want to go to an area that I knew. I mean,
so you can what? Jump out and run?
There's always that possibility. Yeah.
Hey, Mike.
Yes, sir.
As we see this, you know, we're thinking, okay, doesn't seem anywhere we're going that fast. You're thinking maybe, as to the Twitter question, maybe you go a little faster, maybe you try and pit maneuver. But is it off the table when you know they're armed and they got a gun that could be pointing at you? It's
something you keep in consideration, because sometimes if you do perform a pit maneuver, you'll be in a situation where you're face to face with that person, you're head on, and you want to try to have every tactical advantage you can have when you finally do stop that vehicle. You know, that's why a lot of times with the spike strips, sometimes if they did run over them, you'd have more of a tactical advantage, because if they did, let's say, fishtail out or something, you would have the advantage on them. But a well-planned pit maneuver can work extremely well, even with armed individuals. But those officers, you have to make sure that you have enough there to support you, and then you have enough backup, so if something does go bad, does go south, that you can react to that, especially if you think you have to use deadly force. We saw another vehicle in there, so we know we've got a lot of police vehicles, and it looks like
I'm being told no tires on the right side.
Yeah, no tires at all.
So, look, Mike, think about it. You've seen a million of these. How much longer does this guy have?
Probably not a whole long time, that's for sure. But there is one advantage of, I think, of a minivan. You've got the length of the minivan. Should they decide to go ahead and perform a pit maneuver, number one, you know, even when all tires are good, it's not a great performance vehicle. So when you've got 2 tires gone, now on the right side, it's going to make it a lot less, you see, I thought maybe someone's going to jump out there.
I mean,
now
Mike,
we're southbound on Scott in southeast Houston.
Look at Mike, even Galanos. I mean, the truck's leaning. It's leaning to the right. There's not a whole lot left there. Other than a pit maneuver, do they just let this guy ride it out? Well, and the thing is, because he's armed, even if he does stop and he stays in there, how concerned are you, I suppose, about a hostage situation if they get out and run into a house?
There's always that possibility. I've seen situations like that happen before. We know that there's now apparently 2 people inside that minivan. At least one of them is armed. This chase has been going on now for about 40 minutes. We're on southbound on Scott Street, southeast Houston. Again, just to refresh, some of the people might be just joining us. It was believed that about 40 minutes ago, this vehicle and the people inside this vehicle were involved in a bank robbery. And at least one of the people inside that car allegedly pointed a weapon at a teller during that robbery, and then got in this car and they fled. And again, they were on the 610 loop. They went across the shipping channel there. They've been all throughout Houston, started in Northwest Houston.
Whoa, they're
look at that.
The rim.
Rim just flew off.
So now they're basically running on the drums on that right-hand side. So that is going to affect a lot of things. Number one, that's going to affect the brakes.
Are you inching closer now? I mean, we don't see that. And they're trying to pick up speed here, as wild as that is, when you're riding on what you say, you're down to bearings now.
Yeah. And you know, I'm wondering, is this van, is it front wheel, is it rear wheel drive? That makes a big difference, too, when you're talking about performance. But you still see the police. They still got the eyeball.
Are you surprised at the clip they're still going? The fact that he's already lost all the.
Yeah, I am, because when you lose a front tire, that the handling becomes an issue. Your braking becomes an issue. Everything becomes an issue, and that's what makes this situation so dangerous. During this time, it's about 1:21 in the afternoon in Southeast Houston. And it's still, we don't know how this is going to turn out.
All right, well, wait a minute.
No one gets hurt.
We're wondering what he's going to do right here, because it looks like he's done.
It might be done.
And this, coming to a point here after they reach speeds of 120 miles per hour.
Now they're out.
And they're running.
All right, now they're bailing out. You got them one on foot. Now you got to make sure that you've secured the other one. So now here comes a cruiser.
Look at that, right across the grass.
Yep.
They are after him.
All right, here we go. They're cutting through
Running
a lot.
into a parking lot.
Looks like
there
the
they
person's
are.
giving up.
Guns drawn.
Guns drawn. Get on the ground. Get on your knees. Prone the person out. Because, again, you don't know if this is the one who's armed or not. But you're going to take every precaution. They can't kill you with their feet, so you want to get their hands secured. It looks like they've got this person in custody. Now, there's a canine car. There's a canine unit right there, Mike, and Christy Slide's talking about. They were right there.
He's going nuts. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
The precision is unbelievable on that. Yeah. I mean, once the guy, like you point out, Christy, he starts running for it. These cars are going across the grass. And look how many vehicles. The canines there. I mean, what training to do this, again, with such precision, Mike.
You know, Mike, and that's why they practice and you train. I mean, that's what you do. But you also had to keep in mind that if there was another person inside that car, they still had to control that vehicle for possible evidence, and more importantly, for someone inside that vehicle that could have a weapon. So again, looks like everything is good on this particular scene. Though we don't know what's happening back at the minivan, but we know this subject is in custody. And I got to say, for all the jurisdictions involved, fantastic job. Job well done. Everyone goes home. No injuries.
In case you're just joining us, I want to wrap this up so you can see the ending again, just walking you through it. At least 7 Houston police cars at one point behind him while this went on for about 45 minutes, this high-speed chase, reaching speeds of 120 miles an hour. 2 bank robbery suspects, one who allegedly pulled a gun on a teller before they jumped in the van and took off. He was going on, 610 on the loop, approaching I-10 at one point, I-45 through downtown Houston, then south of downtown, now southeast Houston is where they ended up. And let's take a look at how that 120-mile-per-hour chase at one point ended. Here he goes. And remember, he lost.
You're on 3 wheels at
tires.
this point, yeah.
Was it 3 or 2? I mean, it sounded like he lost.
Yeah, I think it was
2.5, maybe. Yeah, 2.5.
It's that.
But yeah, this is what Mike was talking about earlier. All right, we stopped watching it, but okay, because we want to show you the live pictures of this guy that they have in custody now. And you made a great point.
2 pairs of pants.
We don't know if this was the one who was allegedly armed or if it was someone else. But Mike Alanos, you're right. You see him running across the grass, and then the car also going across the grass itself, probably maneuvering between the trees that were there. But as soon as he stopped in that parking lot, the influx of cars it was something to see, wasn't it?
It was amazing just to watch that. Mike, I think you're more trained to see that, knowing the training these guys go through. But I think Christy and I are more in awe, just like, wow, look at without skipping a beat, a guy's cutting through trees and across grass,
right.
and men, they're all over him.
Well, they're talking who's going to take the van, who's going to take the perp, who's out and running, and